Welcome to the OTA School Advisory Board, March 16, 2020, 6 p.m. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, as we do with all these. Please rise. Your hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Excellent. Thank you. We got a couple stragglers, but we'll start. Is Chris coming? Chris is not coming tonight? Chris will be here. Oh, Chris will be here. Okay, we will start with the beginning of roll call. James Gartland, I am here. Zach Davis is present. Here. Michael Talby. Yep. Topher McDougal.
We're just locked out.
Excellent. Chris.
I had it on.
All right. Jian Chen.
Here. I'll tell you about it.
Sydney Tobias.
Here. It's a whole story.
Jennifer Whitney. Principal Laura Badil.
Here.
And this is it. Chris is here. Okay, so we have Kristen, who said she would be absent. Jeremy Turner, not sure. And Walker, not sure. Is Dash coming?
It's not.
He is not. Dash is out. All right. Excellent. Cool. We still have a quorum, so the show will go on. We will open it up to public comment. Seeing that there are no people in the audience, we can check that one off the box. So we'll go to board member correspondence.
The only thing I'll note is that I was asked for a resolution, made a resolution, sent it to Eliza and Natalie. I don't see it on the agenda. So if you want to,
I think it's on the last page, no? Resolution March 16,
oh, no,
2022.
I see it. I don't see it on the agenda.
Oh, in the agenda. Oh, I see. Okay. I thought that it was on there as new business. When I looked, board committee, panel formation.
That's at C, right?
Yeah, I would say it falls under a subcategory of that. So as a note, we'll put.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry, yeah.
Right?
Overlooked, yep.
Okay. Excellent. So board member comments.
I have one about real estate. I don't know in terms of the real estate committee, or I reached out to the facilities head at my employer, and she has worked in academic settings before, SDSU and USD. And she said SDSU has a like an entrepreneurial real estate program there, where they are teaching new people to be in the real estate business. She didn't personally recognize any of the names on the list as people she worked with before, but she said that that might be a place for us to reach out to and just give them our quick story and say, hey, do you have resources that you might be able to apply to our issue, or do you want to help us with our issue, or do you have names in the community of people we could talk to? She said that she thought that might be a good avenue, and I can get the exact name, and it's on my other phone, I think. So
That's a great idea.
It'll be like a case study. Then you throw it to a bunch of students.
Yeah.
And them just pound the pavement.
exactly.
That's awesome. Any other board comments?
I think one of the other things is it's time for us, as we kind of march towards summer, and some of us will be no longer on the board. That means we'll be needing to have some elections here in the next couple of months. So, kind of tapping people on the shoulder is traditionally the easiest way to get people to volunteer. So we can make an announcement for people to run. We can say, hey, we really want you, but the most effective way to get people is tap on the shoulder. So maybe ask that some of you send some of your networks. I know I'm doing the same, to see who might be interested in jumping on and running for the board this summer. I think the elections be May, and then we'd instill them in June.
Do you want me to put it in the newsletter?
Great.
If someone's interested to contact,
Who handled it last time?
is there
I think
someone?
Jeremy handled the election.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would probably say when he's here, we'll probably nominate him again. He did a pretty good job. He had a little voting software.
Okay,
And he's very familiar with the bylaws and all that. So
okay.
I think that would be Great, so we'll touch base with Jeremy.
And on that, along that same line, I think we should also potentially reach out to our friends who are not OTA parents.
We
Sure.
need some
Yeah.
luminaries on the board.
Yes,
That would be
excellent. Love it. Yeah, I think you and I are only two with, oh no, you have a kid here now. Yeah,
It's
just
you.
me.
Just you
Just
now.
me.
You're the
Look
luminary.
at that. Oh, never thought, nobody, let me tell you.
Yeah.
8th grade, most likely to be a luminary was not one of the choices. Excellent. Nope, well, I'll say exciting week here at OTA. More endorphins going around, smiling faces going around, and very proud of the civil work that was done last Friday at the special board meeting. I'd like to read a lot about what is going on with boards for schools all over the country. And I could tell you that a lot of school boards with a lot more funding and things that they basically have at their facilities have not done as well as this place. So hats off to the stakeholders here, the parents, the students, the staff, and this board as well, because there was a very smooth civil meeting. I think everybody had their opportunity to speak to their concerns, and I think they were heard by the board. And so I'm just proud of the work that was done here to move on, and we're in state compliance, which is great. Do we think the pandemic is over? No. Will it be more of a roller coaster ride? We anticipate that. But I think the working group here and the folks here are doing a great job, and I am proud of the work that's done here. So hats off to this board, hats off to the parents and students. So I thought it went really well, and you're seeing it not go so well all over the state, all over the country. And so kudos to everyone involved and the folks that are getting involved. We really appreciate that. And all of the words from parents the other night were extremely important and very valuable in this board. The decisions are not made here out of whim. So thank you all. Thanks everybody for getting involved. And that's it. So we will jump right into it, and treasurer fiscal report.
Yep. So I don't think we got copies of it.
They're up there.
Oh, they just got their copy. So the last budget we approved officially was June 9th of last year, and we had created the budget, planning on 265 students enrolled with a 254 ADA. Our ADA numbers have dropped fairly significantly. Our P1 numbers are 245. One of the major problems with that is that obviously creates an additional hole in the budget. So we had planned on having, I believe, a $50,000, approximately $50,000 shortfall in the approved budget. And with this ADA, we're looking probably more like 140, 150,000. So we have some serious making up to do. There's some opportunities that we have. I know that Ms. Badillo and Josh, myself, Natalie have met this week, and there's been a lot of combing of the budget, looking for expenses to cut. I think we talked about some of the expenses you had found, things like the night janitor, a washing station that wasn't being used. So that's, all saving stuff. But it is certainly that check engine light that we have talked about for the better part of the year is now kind of starting to flash a little more brightly. And our low tire warning is on as well. We have the cash to cover it. We're not in dire straits. We cannot live like this. So our biggest problems obviously would continue to be the real estate, as well as a couple other opportunities that we have that we've spent, and we're trying to rein that in very carefully operationally. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Certainly, as you digest this, if you have anything come up, you can, email myself, Josh, Ms. Badillo, and we'll be happy to talk about it. But this is certainly one of those where, as we're approaching the end of the year, we need to be acutely aware of the challenges that have beset our finances this year. Any questions?
So, is that did I miss that? Is that a 19-person plan or a 9-person? So we went from,
Are you talking about the drop?
yeah.
Yeah, so we
ADA,
went, it's 9.
9,
254 ADA was what we built the budget on,
Okay,
and P1 was down at 245.
okay. So- All right, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I think we ask this question every time, sorry to jump in, James, but it notes that some of the revenue is built around the restricted funds. Have those expenses hit yet, or do we know what the impact of that is going to be, like, from a timing standpoint?
Still working through some of that, one of the issues that we have is trying to piece together some of the plans that were put in place for different revenues and being spent in certain areas, because not a clearly spelled out plan was left behind. So, I don't know if you want to speak to that at all in this video, but I know you've spent hours trying to piece together and find where certain expenditures were accounted for, or certain revenues were accounted for. And we're going through right now, Josh and his team, to realign some of the specific line items that are, maybe showing as an expense and broken out in a couple of different spots, and kind of aligning those so that we have a better picture. But I know you've found some opportunity, but
Spent a lot of time trying to figure out what it is, but we can make sure that the restricted funds are spent on what specific areas we need them to be spent on. We've been able to make that happen.
Is that more of an accounting exercise, or sort of rebucketing where they were, so it's already factored into that expense number, or is it truly new dollars that haven't hit yet?
So we basically, it's not necessarily new dollars, it's dollars that we got this year, but we would have to give them back if we couldn't allocate them for what they were specifically to be spent on.
Yeah.
So that was the difficulty he was talking about, trying to figure out what was the plan. It was so general that we had to really do a lot of research. Natalie helped me, and we did a lot of research to see, okay, where did this person get paid? So some of it came out of last year, which was great, 'cause it was a 2-year plan. And so we were able to account for, I think, about $20,000 out of that 148 that was spent last year. I see a lot more money that could have been allocated to that last year, but we can't change it now.
Yeah.
So it was a matter of going through to see, okay, what else makes sense and would be legitimate that we could do. So we were able to account for everything.
So we're looking at 9 for the whole year
so far, yeah.
so far. So 9, $85 a day, 160 or so days of instruction. So like 125 grand.
Roughly.
Roughly. Okay. All right. That's the second light on the dashboard.
Tires have lost air.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. I think that's it. Is there any questions for Michael? I will say there is some legislation out there right now at State Senate. It has 15 sponsors right now, which is very good. There's 40 votes in State Senate. So for a bill to have 15 sponsors is very good. But it's SB 830, and it is to change the way schools are funded from ADA to enrollment. And I think we'll see what happens with that by July. They actually just changed. I've been tracking the bill. They changed it. Originally, it was written for fiscal 23-24, and they have changed it to 22-23. And some of the stuff on it is they're looking, because every school is feeling what we're feeling because of COVID. And if you recall, They went off of our ADA from January a couple of years ago, and that was helpful for us through COVID. But this last year, we're kind of fending for ourselves. I think some of that is they're trying to motivate schools to get back in person and to figure out what your rhythm is to get that education and to get that ADA. But I think the spring report for almost every school, certainly at SDUSD, is going to be fairly bleak. So I don't think we're alone in that, which may help with some of the politics or SB 830. But you guys should look at that. And if you have some leverage, I would look at that. But it's got 15 sponsors. There are 40 state senators, and then there are 80 state assemblies. So it would get pushed through the Senate, then would have to go to the assembly. So, but with that, that is promising for next year. I don't know how much help that's going to be for this year, or if there's some type of stopgap for this year. I will let you know. We have put in for some grant funding for some specific things at the school in the name of the foundation, so they may be helpful coming in the coming months.
And there's been some rumors about, at least some real chatter about doing a hold harmless for this school year as well, to roll over the ADA. We're not banking on that. We can't bank on that. But there's certainly starting to be a little momentum because, as James said, all the schools are really feeling it. And because of the dramatic impact, there's a lot of people who are saying, hey, we need to roll that ADA number over another year. So that's hopeful, but we can't build a budget on hope. We gotta build it on reality. So
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you for that. All right. Any other questions or comments on the fiscal report? All right. Teacher liaison. Ms. Whitney.
I just
Hello.
wanted to-
Oh, you know what? I totally neglected. Please introduce yourself and tell us something about yourself and why you were interested in this position. And
Absolutely.
sorry about that.
No worries at all. I kind of just briefly said something at the Zoom meeting, but
Yeah.
I did want to say a little more. So I'm Jennifer Whitney. I just go by Jenny. And I've been teaching kindergarten here. This is my second year. Before this, I actually lived in Orange County and I worked at Newport Mesa Unified, and then I also worked at Bellflower Unified. This is my first time at a charter school. And then also I moved to San Diego. My entire family kind of migrated here during COVID. So I have 4 sisters, 4 brother-in-laws, a bunch of nieces and nephews. So we are all here in San Diego now. My husband's side of the family lives here too. So it's all a big fun thing. So in my free time, usually just spending time with family. I was interested in this because I'm always interested in leadership roles. I usually attended every leadership meeting last year that we had. And Sarah approached me and she said, would you be interested in this? Absolutely 100%. She said, you were the first person I thought of. This is, I think, a great role for you. And so I'm happy to be here. And as far as just the teacher liaison report for this month, I sent out a survey to the staff just to get everyone's feelings, how they're doing, and just any comments they had of things that the board can do to better support them as well. I'll be sharing those in closed session, but I just wanted to make that aware. And I think that's it.
Excellent. Thank you. So do you have anything for the, or you're going to share?
I think I'm going to share it in closed. I don't
Okay.
think that there's anything that needs to be open.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Office managers report. Natalie.
I just have a quick update. As far as enrollment goes, we're still accepting new applications. And we've had quite a big jump from last month. Last month, we ended at about 82 applications as of the last board meeting, and we're now up to 169.
Wow.
And so in each grade, it, for the most part, doubled in each grade. So last month we had 35, this month we have 60 in kinder. First grade, we had 10 last month. This month we have 20. Second grade, we had 6. This month we have 11, 3. Third, we had 5. This month we have 13. And then fourth, we had 5. And then this month we have 15. Fifth grade, we have 5. Now we have 12. Sixth grade, we had 7. Now we have 21. Seventh grade, we had 6. Now we have 12. And eighth, we had 4. And now we have 5. It is a little bit lower than it was last year, but it's a pretty good jump from month to month. So I'm hopeful that we'll get more applications by the end of this month because it closes at the end of this month. Re-enrollment also just closed on Monday. Everyone submitted their re-enrollment forms. We only had 2 students that have indicated that they're not returning. So that's really well. We've always had a few students at this time already that we knew weren't going to be coming back. So 2 is a really, really phenomenal number. Of course, it could change as families decide to move, military families get their orders. But for the most part, we're really happy to see that only 2 students have indicated they're not returning. A little update on food services. I've reached out to SDUSD, their lunch program, and I've confirmed that we would be interested in contracting with them next year for our universal meal program. And they have said they're interested. They just need to know our numbers. So I submitted those to them. And they said that they would get back to me with a final confirmation for next year. They didn't send me a cost sheet, so I don't know exactly what their prices are, but it would be a good deal, more cheaper than what we are paying right now for our private food vendor. As soon as I have those, I'll share those with Ms. Padilla and she can share those with the board. As far as my report, that's it. I just have a reminder that your Form 700s are due by April 1st. Board members, please.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Any questions for Natalie? All right, IT report, Mr. Capetillo.
Hey, everybody. Right now, what's going on in the IT is just the website. We're on the final processes of the programming part. We're just doing a couple of modifications. We will be having training for admin and staff on April 1st. Basically, it's gonna be 1 hour for admin to discuss like how to be able to send newsletters, broadcasters will be able to manage the page. The teacher part will be basically, the focus will be in how to show teachers how to create their page, to be able to put a little bio, a picture of themselves, be able to sync their calendar, so as parents, they can just, instead of following, for example, if they don't want to follow like the whole school wide, they can just follow the teacher's, calendar. So the teacher can input information like assignment 15 is due next Wednesday. Parents will also be, be finding out, like getting to know like what's due. So in case, the student says, oh, I forgot to do my homework, you at least know what's going on. And it's pretty fun. Aside that, our network, again, it's going to be during spring break, but we're going to be doing the upgrade. So that's pretty much it so far.
Thank you, sir. You were saying the Prometheus board, is that what? Prometheus board, what were you? The
Prometheus boards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is that working out?
I'm gonna go talk to the district warehouse, see if there's any like available that I can get for free. They're not going to be the newest ones. They're going to be probably the 2nd generation ones, but they're still functional. So we'll see what happens.
Okay.
On that.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Real estate advisory. Walker McBride is not available, so I will talk. So we set a standard 2-week meeting with the facilities folks over at SDUSD. So that's a standing meeting now. We have that every 2 weeks. We're working with the broker. We've got probably a list of 5 or 6 that they're chasing down for us. We are certainly dealing with just a weird commercial real estate market right now, with changes to building codes and the big stressor on low income housing and density. It's just, there's a lot of speculating and the commercial market has changed a little bit. Obviously the effects from COVID as well. So it's kind of new territory. It's not a great time to try and find a location, but I do appreciate everybody's input. So every time I see a board member now, they have they come up with an address or they have something. So we're getting a lot more people working on. I'm hoping that we can tap into some of the parent resource and they can start looking as well and seeing if we can get a pocket listing or something that will work as a new venue for the school. So exciting, but we just have not found that place yet. So we're still kind of chugging along on that. But upside is there is a $40 million grant there for this project. We just have to find a location and get after it. And that is it for that. Board committee panel formation, that's, it should be, we can put that in discussion and talk to it on that little section there. Parent Foundation, Linda Filippo is not available tonight. And I don't think she prepared anything for us, but we do have some upcoming events. We did just have movie night. How was movie night?
I was not.
Oh,
there,
you missed it?
unfortunately.
Okay, all right.
I was there, and I will tell you, it
Yeah.
was fantastic. And none of the kids were watching the movie until We Don't Talk About Bruno came on, then all the kids were watching the movie and singing at the top of their lungs, and it was probably about half the parents too, so it was glorious.
Excellent.
And fourth grade parent said that they were all sold out of their tickets and stuff. So sounded like it was a fun time. I wasn't there, but my husband and daughter was.
Great. It's great to see these community things happening again at the school and starting to come back. I remember we were doing web-based assemblies and videos and all kinds of things to try and keep that feel, but really nice to have that. And then we have the gala. Are we still calling it the gala?
No.
Or is the parent get together?
Something like that.
So there is an event coming up in May, and but we'll get an update on that as we go. Tune in. I believe the foundation can use any volunteers and help, so reach out to Lynn if you want to help out. Principals report.
So virtue of the month is self-control, which is really a big conversation right now. Every time a kid comes in the office, it's easy to say, tell me about self-control and why that's not happening with you. So perfect timing. It's actually been really good to have those conversations with the students. I just started formal teacher observations this week, so I've only completed 2, but down the road, so I'm getting a chance to go in and observe them in a lesson of their choice, so that way they're comfortable doing something that they want me to watch versus me saying I want to see a specific thing. So good so far. We're continuing the school tours for prospective students. I don't know if you noticed when you drove up. I hope somebody noticed that we did put a sign outside that said we're have enrollment is open for next year. So hopefully even a few more people will see that sign. We are trying to do a little bit of canvassing only in the sense that we're handing out flyers right now. I've got Mr. Watts and Ms. Van Worden, both of them are handing out flyers and doing some canvassing so we can reach out to some of those communities that we can end up with, number one, full rosters next year for every class, including the new transitional kindergarten, but also into looking at diversity and trying to reach out to the communities within maybe 5 to 10 miles of us. We're completing something called CalSAS right now. I was mentioning to James that it seems like every day we get something in the email that says, you need to do this, or why haven't you done this, or this was due, and we're like, wait, what is that? So CalSAS is basically teacher credential monitoring, and so we're looking at all the teacher credentials. They do this on an annual basis to monitor the credentials and make sure that the teachers that are assigned to those classes and what they're teaching is appropriate to the credentials they have. And of course, the teachers are all new to me, so I'm just learning specifically what credentials they hold or when they're completing the next credential, because they might be teaching a course that's not on their original credential, but they're in the middle of, or they're completing paperwork for the second one. So that's been good for me, but something that we're working on right now. We're preparing for the state testing. We had a meeting today, 3rd grade through 8th grade. And so the tests will be shorter this year, which is great, but the kids haven't taken them for a while. And so kids who missed 3rd grade and 4th grade are going to take it for the first time in 5th grade. So it'll be something new. So we'll be doing some practice testing over the next few weeks. Our window apparently started this Monday, but we want to push it back as far as possible. And so we're not going to start. I think we're going to wait until the first week of May to start and then complete everything in the month of May. We'll be able to get all of it done, including the makeup testing. We're developing a summer program of activities that align with that new expanded learning opportunities plan. That's not the grant that we talked about earlier, But the plan, we're getting about $50,000. It's required by the state for every school to offer summer programming. It doesn't mean we have to offer it in the sense that our teachers have to staff it. We don't necessarily have to be here. Yes, we need to open up and close, but it can be like the YMCA and some other groups. So I met with our Spanish teacher today, and we're talking about pulling together maybe some program that it can do. She can do maybe a full day of maybe art, music, Spanish, something like that, starting in July. And maybe we can do something for a minimum of 4 to 5 or 6 weeks over the summer, not just for our students. If we can't fill it up with just our students, then we will open it up to others. But the nice part about it is she puts the whole proposal together and then they pay us to use the facility. So it wouldn't be, it's not a huge moneymaker, but it is something that could bring in a little revenue and be a bonus for families, especially those who've been taking Spanish already for 2, 3, 5 years, to continue doing that throughout the summer. And it would be a daily program. So it's kind of exciting. So we met today to talk about that. We are working to place an additional 5 USD students in classrooms. They just need observation time. So Dr. Roth over there and I have been going back and forth. We currently have 1 student teacher and I think 4 graduate students that are helping out in classrooms and helping out with special ed for 10 hours a week. And these are additional students who actually just need observation time. So they'll just be going in and out of classrooms to make sure that they've covered that. It's been a great relationship with USD. Thank you, Topher. I'm working on, and I'm not sure what we currently have in place, but a teacher commitment form to determine teacher assignments and then also salaries for next year, so we can start doing budget planning. It really is sending something out to teachers. Are you planning on coming back? Are you getting a master's degree? So that way I can make sure we've got the most updated information as we work to develop the budget. Number 9 is new. Apparently we had a lot of bees on the field today. So if you had to pick up your child from afar and we had to shout through the microphone or the megaphone to get your kid to the car, it's because we had bees all over the campus at the end of the day, all over the field out there. And with the kids screaming and hollering, so we kept them inside the little lunch area, and then 1 kid at a time, we sent it to the car. And so that was what I was going to tell you, Natalie. We need a bee guy tomorrow. So I said, I got to tell you something. I can't remember what it is. We're preparing for the health department visit in preparation for the nutrition program next year. So we've had to clean up our area in here. We had to get rid of the microwave, all kinds of things, things that they might think you're preparing food, which we're not. But it needs to be a very clean area. So we've done that, and we're just getting that visit set up in the next few weeks. So we can check that off our list. We completed a civil rights data report, which is an annual report. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but in 1968, the government started collecting data on key education and civil rights issues for all of the nation's public schools. And so that's a report that includes things like how many suspensions, who was suspended, what was their ethnicity, those kinds of things. So we just submitted that last Friday. It was due. I have completed an informal audit of the school of all of the areas. I listed all those areas there: budget, finance, curriculum, instruction, special ed, facilities, operations, governance, human resources, IT, legal, nutrition, risk management, and health and safety. And it really, for me, was to get an eye on where are we? Where are our holes? What do we need to polish up? What can we do to improve, make things, processes smoother, more efficiencies, saving money, those kinds of things. If anybody would like to meet with me to take a look at that, I'd be happy to share it with you on an individual basis if you're interested. And I also just wanted, I didn't list it on here because it was most recent. We lost 2 classified staff members, 2 classroom aides. One is moving to Texas. The other is going back to school to get a master's degree. And of course, that's always a panic in the last moment, because one of them gave us 2 days notice. The other one gave us about 7 days notice. And so luckily we were able to talk to our USD partners, and we are hiring 3 of them part-time to make up one of the positions. And then we are reaching out for the other one, which I also reached out to USD for the one-on-one behavioral support aid that we still haven't been able to fill. So we're still working on that component. And then just what's happening in the next few months, the school safety plan update, which is actually listed on here. I'm actually going to send that out to you in a link for you to review. We didn't provide it because the information kept changing. Are we going to have masks? We're not going to have masks. So what are we doing? And so now that we know, we can look at it and pull out all of the components that relate to masks, but not necessarily pull out the components that relate to all the cleaning and the filtration and those other pieces. So I'll send it out to you and we can approve that at the next board meeting so I can get all of your input on that. We're starting to work on the budget for next year. And then of course, those 3 new wonderful programs, the ELOP, the meals and the universal TK are already started. All right. And then the auditor selection, I'm gonna ask you again, Natalie, about that. We currently have Christy White as our auditor and we need to select an auditor. Go
We
ahead.
need to, yeah, so every year we need to have a board approve our auditor. It is a year in which we would change. The initial 3-year contract is up, and so they sent us another fee agreement for another 3 years. We can stay with Christy White. I would probably advise that we stay with Christy White for this year, just with all the new changes. They tend to be charter friendly to us. They know our school. They've been with us the last few years. So I was suggesting with them, they did raise their prices a good deal. And they actually, they raised it to from 8,800 to 10,500. They also do our Form 990s. So it's for our audit and taxes. And so for this year, it would be 10,500. And then it would go up to 10,860 for 22-23 and to 11,235 in 23-24. And we need approval because we need to submit that to the county and the district before March 31st.
When did we receive that?
Receive what?
The Christy White bid?
The bid?
Yeah.
It's not a bid, it's just an extension.
I understand. When did we receive the extension?
She sent it a little bit earlier in March.
But it's due in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
So-
it's kind of.
And so the problem I've got, right, is a raise of prices like that, we should at least shop it and see if there's anyone else out there that does substantially similar work for less, in theory, right? So I understand things go up, but if we have to do a 3-year, we have to submit it to the county, then we probably, is there a way to ask for an extension so we can get some other pricing on that?
You can, but you probably have to have another special board meeting to approve it before the 31st.
Yeah.
So you're asking for an extension.
I'm
to
saying,
the
can we get an
31st?
extension on the 31st, so we have time to look at what other options?
Okay, yeah,
We're-
that was.
We're
that's
running the
really
budget
late.
like we are, I think
Yeah.
we need to, and so it
Yeah.
seems pretty late to be bringing it to the board when it's due in 2 weeks. and we
Yeah.
don't have another board
And we
meeting,
just got it,
And
yeah.
we just got it, right?
Can we extend 1 year?
Mhm.
Did she offer a 1 year?
She didn't offer, but I can ask her.
Maybe we ask her for 1 year and then we shop it and make a decision from there. So
Yeah, I mean, was it a 25% increase in price seems steep enough to at least go and shop.
yeah.
So was this year's audit, did you say this year's audit was 10,500 and next year will be 10,800? So it's only a $300
No, you
increase.
said this year is
No,
8,000.
No, last year.
Oh, last year, a year ago was 8,000, but this year's is
Right.
10,500.
So hold on, so
So-
make sure, because that's not what I understood you say, so make sure your clarification makes sense. So for school year 2021 was 8,500,
Mhm.
school year 21-22 is 10,500.
Yes.
Okay. And then it goes 10,800 for next year for 22-23.
Correct.
Okay, and then there's the 2 other years beyond
One
that.
other year.
One of the year 11.
That almost sounds like a 2-year.
That's a 2-year extension then, right?
So it's 2020, it's 21-22.
Which we're already done with, right?
No, we're not. We're gonna have to do it.
We're 20.
They just
20,
completed our
21 right now.
2021 audit.
Yeah.
So they do
I
it
see.
prior year.
Right,
Yeah.
which, okay, so we're a year behind, so then the same thing stands, and we are seeing a 20-something% increase in pricing, seems like we should at least shop it.
So do they give what the cost is for, in the 3-year contract, did they give us the 3 years of expenses? Like this is what it will
Yeah.
cost you each year? Did you get that initially?
Yeah.
I can go back and look.
Because
It
that's,
was just a fee letter that she had sent us.
Yeah, the contract had a schedule
Mhm.
and it did go up, but we're looking at 10-5 for next year. If we did a 1 year, it would be 10-5. Right? Yeah.
Is there also any possibility of talking to her and see if she would? Or talking to her and lower?
Right, so like we will have to look for another provider. We don't
Right.
want to, we would prefer to stay with you, but we cannot
But this is,
with this increase. Let's see what happens.
So, well, I think we got to go out to bid. 1, 2, I think we ask for a 1 year. And
see what they can do.
see what they can do. And we're gonna have to have a special to approve it unless you guys want to approve a 1 year at 10-5.
But we don't know.
We don't know that.
Right.
What's that?
We don't know that she'll agree to that.
We don't.
Just like CSMC, right? They gave us a different pricing based on how long we would do it. And I would certainly assume they would as well, but.
Yeah,
so I think maybe first we ask if she could, lower the number and then see if we, and if she says no,
no.
then see if we can. do
I just
1
don't
year.
know how many firms are gonna get back to us at,
That's why I'm asking.
This
if we
time of
give an
year?
extension
Right.
from the March 31st deadline.
Is the March 31st deadline from her?
it's
to-
from the county.
It's from the county.
Yeah. So we have to send our approved auditor by March 31. So we're looking at
Is
a
there-
special meeting.
Is there a way then, so just thinking about preventing this in the future, is there a way to put a tickler in so that we don't have this coming up in March? Right, that we have, next time we have this
January.
contract, that in January, if we're gonna rebid it, we go out and find some people or whatever.
Yeah.
And because I think this is not the first time I remember us coming up against a deadline going, wait a second, why are we just now knowing when it's due in 2 weeks, right? And so there's gotta be a way for us to sort of approach this
Yeah.
proactively and so we're not stuck between a rock and a hard place on this one.
Mhm. I think it's just adding it to the calendar.
All right, the running calendar. So we know in January, we're looking at auditor stuff. We know in
Yeah.
June, we're doing.
Well, that's dependent upon the contracts, like how long, how many years are
Right,
those or
but
whatever. but
point
yeah,
being, we need to
it
put
on
a
the calendar.
tickler in there either
Yeah.
way.
I
So
agree.
we raise our hands.
So I don't think we're gonna get. I don't think we're gonna get many bids in the next 2 weeks.
Is it possible to get an extension? from the
Because
county?
then we have to interview the auditor.
Right.
Yeah,
I think it's a little bit easier if you're in the charter world and you know who the auditors are. And we can go to our charter organization and probably seek it out. If an auditor wants you, they'll make it happen in a short amount of time.
And we certainly can talk to people. I can make myself available to help with that too over the next couple of weeks.
I mean, because the audit is the same, no matter who you are, it's like
Yep.
your taxes, right?
Yep.
And so it really is how much money you're gonna charge us. It really is a bottom line is what we're talking about, right? Because they
Yep.
do the same work. And there are a handful of auditors that are, that serve charter schools and serve them well. So we can just look at those and throw something out there and see.
Certainly,
I
given your
remember they-
experience, I'm sure you know a couple.
I do. I
they were
do
all
know.
structured differently though. I remember like Moss Adams was structured like it was a not to exceed, but it had a baseline. And it was like the contracts we got last time, it wasn't apples to apples was the problem.
Yeah, but that's what you can ask for.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say we put it to bid but I think we could approve a 1 year up to a certain amount. We wanted if we wanted to approve a 1 year not to exceed 10,500, if they were to do that, we go back to them and say, hey, we would like a 1 year. We could make a motion to approve that, put that in the principal's wheelhouse. To do that, that will give us a year and then we put it out to bid for starting next January. And we look at contracts for 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26, 27.
Yeah, what I'm hearing you say is you don't think an extension from the county is
Yeah,
don't think the
no,
sanctions from,
we probably
no,
should not
I
do
think we're
that,
just
yeah.
gonna be out of compliance and then we're gonna have to. Then, yeah, it's gonna be a red flag. It's gonna end up in our audit. Where these audits are pretty clean right now. I mean, I do like where we've gotten every year. It's gotten better and better and better, and there's been less red flags, less issues, less things to respond to. And yeah, it's certainly a increase. Everything's going up.
But not by that much.
Not by 20,
Yeah.
2021, it was the CPI rose by 7%.
Yeah.
So this is being roughly 3 times. what
Yeah.
CPI rose by.
What are the possibilities of us being able to get, to
Get
talk
to-
to somebody from the people that it,
I think, James, what I'm hearing from you, though, is more not to prevent that from happening, but rather to empower Ms. Badillo to do a 1-year contract, so we don't have to have a
In the
special
event.
meeting in the event we're not getting anybody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a conditional type of
Right.
approval.
Like a motion
Like a not to
to,
exceed, and then you got in your back pocket with the other bit.
And if the other bids fall through and the
And it's
current
on
vendor is
as a-
willing to provide it at the
Mhm.
1-year rate, then you get a reprieve from the.
And it's on as an action item, so we could approve a 1 year. If we don't get a 1 year, then we're gonna have to have a meeting anyway. And then we go out to bid, see if we can middle it, and you're approved to select the auditor for 1 year up to 10,500. And
Well, I think you would have to have a special meeting to approve the exact auditor if you chose someone other than Christie White.
Correct.
Yeah.
We
yeah,
will.
Okay,
so, but I say,
but we can talk to her about a 1 year, keep
Yeah.
it at the same price as this year.
That would be the,
That'd be
right.
great. And
Or-
then,
Or go up
or,
by 7.5%, fine, that
Not
matches, right, we're not going up 20-something percent. Was it from 80, was it 85 to 10.5? Yeah, I mean, that's a
well, and I
25%
think part of it
increase.
has to do with the things that they're auditing, because all of the things that we're doing right now, I was telling James today, there's so much work to do, and it all has to do with COVID-related reporting
Right.
and auditing. So they've added more work to the auditors. So yes, while maybe a standard percentage going up might be 5 or 7%, but because they've added more things to audit, and it's a lot. I mean, we were talking about it earlier, just trying to complete those things, and now they have to audit them. I think it's specific to some of those things, is that COVID has added more work for them, not that they're just, we feel like going up 20%. I think it's the amount of work that's being required of them. So we'll probably see similar amounts from other auditors, maybe not as high. I don't know if someone wants our business, they'll start low.
Right.
But some of these reporting pieces should go away in the future, because some of them, they were related to COVID and were temporary, so.
yeah, so I think the motion would be to empower the principal to renew Christie White not to exceed 10.5 for 1 year, and then put it out to bid and see where we go. And if we get the responses, then we will have to have a special meeting. We're gonna have to have the person here to be approved. And it's gonna be a lift. It can be virtual though. It doesn't have to be in person. And then we see what we can do. We go back and ask and say, hey, this would have been a nice conversation in January. Because they know what the deadlines are, so it's I see it's a leverage thing, but definitely would have liked to know that. So it's not sitting well.
No.
But when we get down there, to action items, we'll look at that. But is everybody kind of, as we're discussing it, wrapped around that a little bit? Okay. Excellent. Is that it? Principal,
Yep, that's it.
excellent.
Thank
All right, my favorite report, Sydney Tobias. How are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, so in terms of negative things, I only really have one, and it's one that has been very much discussed before, and it's just the bathrooms. It's even more of an issue now, though, than last meeting. In the girls' bathroom, there's only one stall that people actually use. The big stall, the lock is completely broken off. the first stall, the lid of the toilet tank is like in the actual toilet, so it's just like no one goes in there. And then the second to last one is always flooded, so it's just no one really goes in the bathrooms. So that's really the only negative thing I have. I couldn't really think of anything else, but that's the big pressing issue.
Cindy, is it just the one bathroom? that Is that issue,
No.
or are there others as
Yeah,
well?
I've heard.
Speaking for the kindergarten bathroom, our bathrooms have to get plunged by Mr. Pablo every single day. They're
Yeah.
constantly getting clogged.
Do you have any lock problems?
Oh, we don't have locks on our bathrooms.
All right,
Yeah.
so it's just that one,
Well,
maybe
The boys, the men's room has it too. They got caution tape over it once, so.
Yeah, I know both the boys and the girls down here are really bad, and then I've also heard that upstairs, they're not great either in kindergarten or the regular ones, so I know that's a big pressing issue. In terms of positive things, 8th grade has a upcoming field trip to the zoo. Very excited for that. We've been doing some class projects in social studies and science about the Vietnam War. It's very exciting. Learning about Frankenstein and ELA. So that's fun. We just today pushed our tables back together, so we sit in table groups. So that was very exciting. Get to actually talk to each other now. So everyone was excited about that. We've started our PE fitness assessments, so doing like the push-ups and pacer, things like that. So always exciting.
Does that happen every year, every grade?
So I know it happens in 5th and 7th grade, but because we skipped it last year, Coach Kalacki's making 8th grade do it this year as well. So I think he's having every grade do it just because they skipped it when they were supposed to last time. So we have that. And then the 8th graders have been trying to fill up their community service hours by going into other classrooms. I know some have gone into kindergarten. And I personally have gone into 1st grade like 3 times this week. Amazing. They're adorable. And everyone loves it. It's a good time. So yeah, that's about all I have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I ask a question about the field trips? Does the board's resolution of just a few days ago change anything to do with end of year field trips? Any of the cancellations?
Are you talking about the masks?
Yeah, like the sort of ban on like multi-day field trips. I was
Oh, no, we're not
somebody-
doing overnights.
Right.
Nothing's overnight, but they're doing days, day field trips.
Excellent. Yeah, do we have an assessment on I mean, I know the plumbing is old and yeah, it's just
Every day. I think that's
Yeah.
what Pablo spends most of his time in the bathrooms.
really, yeah, I know he
The
hits it
tank
once an
lid
hour.
is special order. We
Uh-huh.
went to Home Depot this past week, I don't know how it broke. I went to Home Depot and bought the little flush thing, but it's plastic. So now we gotta go try to find one that's metal. I mean, the bathrooms are a constant issue. It definitely has a lot to do with plumbing. Your issues definitely have those same. We did buy the locks for the doors. They're not on yet for the bathroom doors.
I do not believe so.
Okay. I put a big.
At what point do
We did
these,
buy the locks.
but at what point do these sorts of problems redound? So like, okay, I get, levers or whatever, that's on us, but when it's the plumbing of the building, at what point does that redound to the owner to whom we pay this exorbitant rent every month? I mean, maybe this is a question for finance or real estate or somebody, but.
I can tell you the lease.
Yeah.
Says we're responsible for all of the maintenance, which is a terrible lease, my opinion, probably yours too. So we are just,
Is he plunging it? Have we snaked them as well, or just plunged, do you know?
He's just plunging them.
I don't know if he has a snake. Probably cheaper to buy a snake than a plumber.
Yeah, well, just root them off.
Yeah.
You can get those from Home Depot.
It's definitely an old building, everything is old.
Yeah.
So it's, it's gonna be, I think I mentioned to you, I think the maintenance is a lot of problems.
Yes.
We did buy the locks for the bathrooms, and so I'm not sure why those are not on yet, but yeah, we have those. And the filters. Forgot to mention the filters for the water. All the filters have been changed.
In all the drinking fountains
Yes.
or whatever.
There's one drinking
Fill
fountain that's actually broken
Mm.
that we found out, and that's the one, like the eating area downstairs, that garage down there. That's somehow it's broken.
Is that a fill station though?
Yes, it's a fill
It
station.
is,
It's broken.
so
Mhm.
okay.
So these were,
we should probably talk to the Girl Scouts, because they put that in for us, I believe.
oh, they did?
Yeah. And I'm sure we have a Girl Scout troop here somewhere, and, but I would think there's a warranty, or, you know, those should last 5 years. What's that?
No, how do you mean that the talk to a Girl Scout?
The Girl Scout troop
Yeah,
put that in,
right, it's our
They
Girl
did.
Scout troop,
yes.
right, but, no, I was just
Not
wondering.
buying cookies till they fix them, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I was wondering how that helped.
Well, I mean, if whoever managed that project should have the
All receipts and
warranties,
stuff, got it, okay.
receipts.
How
and-
about I
and-
reach out to Heidi?
Okay, yeah, and just see if it came
I
with a
just didn't
warranty.
know how to.
I think that's
how.
that's probably a start.
Put that in the
I would say
minutes.
that's a
Yeah.
start.
John's gonna
It's
do it.
like, hey, no, this
Ken
came
will
with a
reach
5,
out
you know,
to-
'cause those parents are gone.
In the minutes.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's like, this came with a 5-year warranty, all you gotta do is call this number and these people will
Got it.
show up and fix it.
got it, I will reach out to Heidi.
Because it was, yeah, I mean, it was a great machine
great.
and it was the Cadillac of water fillers, so
I doubt Heidi has,
you never know,
but I
you
will.
never know,
ask. I
emails
will ask.
searchable for a while, but she might know off the
Sure.
top of her head, so I would say ask there and then we can go from there.
Now we can always call manufacturer.
I think, doesn't it have a counter on it too, on like how many plastic bottles you save and that kind of thing, so, okay. All right, excellent. Is there anything special about the toilets in there? I mean, I know we have smaller ones here.
In where?
in the, and upstairs bathrooms, or no, I guess it's the downstairs bathrooms. The upstairs bathrooms are small toilets, right? So they're kind of hard to get.
Hers are small
Mine are
toilets, the others are,
I don't know about that.
are
The others are normal size.
general, yeah.
General normal size, okay.
Is it? We probably don't know if it's a toilet problem, a plumbing problem, or both.
It's a student problem, too much
Of course.
paper.
Yes,
Yes.
It's a plumbing problem and it's old but we haven't, I don't think we've snaked it, so we can try that, see if it will help.
but if we're, yeah.
Go snake at Home Depot on the way home.
I think I have one.
Well, it probably needs a full, like, take the toilet off.
Yep.
Yeah, go with the router and. Okay.
Yeah, I
We'll-
mean, should we get a quote from a plumber or something to actually come in and try?
No, you're gonna do it.
I think actually,
That's a plumber. That's a plumber.
yeah,
That's a plumber.
I think we should maybe troubleshoot it
Yep.
a little bit. Because you can get somebody to come in with their snake, if you have the toilets off, they just root everything out and then we'll maybe talk about a alternate, better way to maybe get new toilets and something like that. I'll talk a little bit. Let's see, because it's just seems to be recurring, but it's every year. But yeah, if we're ordering a $30 lid, you know, there's $95 toilets out there, so. So
How many
let's,
toilets do we have?
I think there's 4 in each, so 4, 8, 16, and then the 2 in kindergarten, so 18. And the staff,
Plus the staff.
19.
but there's no problem in the staff.
I think it's only flooded once. That was
Um,
last year.
Yeah, I
You
was
would-
gonna
sorry,
say,
that was last.
staff is usually good, they don't know if it's over.
You don't
Yeah,
see
usually
too much
I-
They don't
paper.
put the
Yeah.
paper towels in there like the
Yeah.
kids do.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe we'll look at it and try to assess what we can do there for a little more reasonable of a price, and that way at least we're troubleshooting it. Because you bring a plumber in here and it's gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be a couple $1,000.
Unless it's a parent.
Yes, exactly.
I could put it in the newsletter. Do we have a plumber? Karen is a plumber who would be
Yeah.
willing to volunteer.
Yeah,
some
that's a
time.
great idea.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Yep, yeah, let's put that in the newsletter, see what we get. And then, yeah, okay. Excellent, all right, let's get to action items. Special board meeting minutes, approval of minutes.
Special board meeting minutes from last
not
week
on,
are
right?
not here yet. and
Yeah.
I will proactively say that for some reason Bob Ham is still listed instead of Principal Cadillo. I place both of those in all places where they show up on the
Yes.
voting charts.
Okay. I
My
see.
apologies. I'll get those.
No
fixed and both of them.
Problem.
Copy
With,
paste can sometimes be your friend, but can sometimes get you worse.
All right, so with that edit, or do we just want to punt till next?
Otherwise, they're, I think they're.
I think they look all right. I think with the
Okay.
edit, I certainly would move to approve them with the edit of taking Mr. Ham out and
All right.
Williams, Badillo where appropriate.
All in favor? Or, I'm
Need a
sorry, you got a
I'll
second?
second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Uh,
Any opposed? Any abstentions? You weren't here for that one,
Right.
so you got the abstention. Okay, one abstention, so it carries. Excellent. Check register, we
we didn't
don't have,
close, yeah.
so we'll punt till next week. We did not close out. Committee panel formation. Comfort.
And the motion should be here. It's what we've discussed last week, which is to take the number of committees that we had approved on October 20th.
Mhm.
Real estate, planning, marketing, DEI, programs and professional development, public health and safety, development and finance, and web design, and collapse them into two, real estate and everything else, which I decided not to call everything else.
Yes.
But instead call it institutional advancement. And that's that.
I'll move to approve it as written.
I'll second, yeah.
All right. Excellent. All right, we're gonna call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, carries. Work. Okay, so the auditor selection, we talked about it. What do you, where are you guys at? We had a little time to think about it. Do we want to approve a not to exceed for Principal Badillo with Christy White? And then we'll also shop it and see what we get. You guys good with that? So it's gonna be a mouthful motion, but I'll make it. So we will approval of a one-year extension with Christy White not to exceed 10,500. I would say is a initial motion, then we'll make another one to go out to bid. So that's motion one.
I'll second.
And just real quick, James, was there two pieces to what they need to do, or is the 10-5 everything that she's doing for us?
That would be it.
That's
all
everything.
in.
Yeah. Yeah. So be a one-year extension not to exceed 10.5.
So you made the motion, you seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries unanimous. Oh, sorry.
I was against.
He's the-
Oh, you're against?
And then
I'm
two
abstaining.
states.
Okay. Okay, opposed, one abstention. Okay, or one opposition.
And then it's been 6, we're still.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's-
All right. All right, and then we'll make a second motion for Principal Badillo to, or Natalie, for staff to go out to bid for auditing services. I would say similar to our current contract. And if we, yeah, and bring that back to the board before March 31. Bring any viable bids back to the board to March 31. Certainly anything below 10,500 in the first year.
Okay, so the first one was we're approving Christy White if she remains at 10.5 for 1 year,
No, up to 10.5. So
up to
you can
10.5
call
for
and
1 year.
Negotiate. So I would call and
Okay,
ask.
and if the first motion, that approves it,
Yes.
however, if she doesn't, then we're doing the second one.
Or no.
Or if we
Yeah.
get our bid.
I would say they're both.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
honestly, if you think you can get someone in the next couple of weeks, let's roll.
Yeah.
Right, I think
So that's
this put us in a hard spot, and it's
Got it.
not the first time this has happened, right,
Mhm.
where something's come up and it's due, and we're like, what are
Yeah.
our options, and that was never explored, so.
Got it.
Yeah. So to get some bids, and if you see something that's cheaper or viable,
Okay.
then bring
Bring
it
to
back.
the
We
meeting,
just
and
need,
we'll do a special board
we
meeting.
need 72 hours before the board meeting. So we would need, when we have to let them know on the 31st,
You need 24 hours for a special board meeting. and then
24 hours for
two
special, 24 hours for emergency.
special.
Special, okay.
Or we can call
So
it.
24 hours. I'd like to do 72, but it doesn't, but
Okay.
24.
Yeah.
So if we get something on the
Okay.
30th,
Mhm.
that's cheaper or better or long-term, then I'd say we bring that back and we'll have a virtual meeting.
In the meantime, shouldn't we also ask them if they would lower their prices?
Yeah, well, that's,
Yeah.
Oh,
that's,
that's part
that's
one.
that's why it's a not to exceed.
Okay, wait,
So,
but that's
So-
not to exceed, it's only for like. the first
year.
year.
Right.
1 year.
Right, what if they come back with a 3-year, but then at maybe like 95, 1050, 10,500, and I mean, I consider that, right?
Well, that's what we'll have a board meeting then.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's just a not to exceed.
Right.
Not to exceed. So I'm hoping they come back at 8.8. And if they come back at 8.8 and say, yeah, we'll go 8.8 and so.
Yes,
So-
that would be my first email. tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's an open session, giving them all the.
I know, yeah, exactly.
Don't post it.
I know
Sorry.
who's watching this, like locked in.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm sure they're all over it. So, yeah. All right, that's. Excellent. COVID prevention plan. We updated the COVID prevention plan to,
I'm sending it to all of you because we
Okay.
just made that adjustment
Okay.
on Friday night with the masks. So I'll send it to you guys by email so you can review it and then actually approve it at the next meeting. We
Okay.
changed it and then we had the board meeting Friday. So I think it's important that you guys get your input since we hope not to change it again every year.
Does it
Well,
seem
we'll see.
like, I mean, I know that it's, that there's not been so much time that's elapsed since we changed the rules, but it seemed like there was like an unfortunate outbreak right afterwards, right?
Wait, right after we changed the rules, that
Yeah,
has
we
nothing
changed the
to
rules
do with
and
the
like
masks.
Movie night and then like Monday
True.
morning was like.
Yeah.
But it's not because they weren't wearing masks at school on Monday.
yeah,
I didn't even hear about this. What great.
yeah. So, but the decision tree, everything is changing in the county as well. Decision tree, all that stuff.
Well,
So,
and we just got new updated information on Tuesday
Yeah.
before we sent the email out to parents. So it really, even what we had changed it to, we have to go through and look at a fine tooth
Yeah.
comb to make sure that we're
So-
accurate, share it with you so that the next meeting, we don't want to approve it when we just got more information 2 days later.
right. So let's just put that on for
Yep.
next. Okay, excellent. Then I think we are good. We're gonna go into closed and we'll report out of close. Ready?
1 second.
James Gartland, nothing to report out of closed session. Thank you. Have a good evening. Meeting adjourned.
Back to back, are we doing this back?